Hey YouTube, just woke up a little while ago and got my package delivered from Tulsa Arcades. That's gonna be our monitor mount and our bezel kit. And if you've seen these installations before, then you know what it's like. So this is gonna be the second part video of converting my MVC cab into a PC mod. So let's get this bad boy set up in the cab. First, we're gonna have to tip the cab over, take the old monitor mount, and then we'll set this up and we'll continue from there. All right, so here's the mount. If you see my other videos, then you've seen this kit before, but if this is your first time finding my channel, let's go ahead and get this opened up. I'll show you what is in the Tulsa mount kit. All right. Now they do have options on their website for a 20-inch or 19-inch. We're going with the biggest and the baddest. So everything is packaged up nicely here. Okay, I had to do a cut there because one thing I love about Tulsa is that they really wrap things up real good. They bubble wrap it, they tape it, there's gonna be no damage. And I really appreciate that because that's attention to detail whenever they're doing their shipping. You never have to worry about these things coming in busted or chipped. But you're gonna get the mount right here, which is very light. I mean, it's sturdy. I don't wanna say that it's light as in, unreliable, but it's very sturdy and light. You have your mount brackets here, the screws, and look, they even posted this is new, they added a sticker. They didn't have that before. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna put that on my locker at work. And then you have your bezel here and the plexi. You will need a drill as there are no mounting holes there, but that's very simple, so make sure you have your drill. The monitor out of there. Now we're gonna mount our 2007 FPV onto the Tulsa mount, and then we'll get that set up in there. And I'll show you how I set it up for these cabs. All right, so you get your mount fastened and secured onto your monitor. For some reason, just like my last video where I did the MVC mod, for some reason when I try to screw the screws into the holes that they put there for you, the screws are extremely loose and soft, so I have to drill again. So I guess that's just something with the mount, because it happened 2 times back to back. I don't like the screws to be loose, and I don't want this to jiggle because we don't want our monitor to come crashing down and break everything on the way down. So I had to drill new pilot holes. These are sturdier. Also make sure that this is leveled so that when you put it in your cabinet, it's not crooked or slanted, because that'll drive you nuts, and then you'll have to undo it and do it all over again. And then also, when you have this face down as you're putting it onto the back of the monitor, have something soft so that you don't scratch or break the screen. All right, now let's get this inside the cabinet. So I'm gonna put the bezel and mount on. In the last video I used Velcro. A lot of people use Velcro. I didn't feel like going to the store to get Velcro, so you can use clear plastic tape. However, I just want to let you know, if you're going to use clear plastic tape, make sure you put it on the very outer edge, far away from the bottom of the inside part of the bezel, because when you press it in, it's going to flatten, and if it flattens forward, you're going to see the tape in front of the screen. I've done that before, so make sure it's on the outer edge if you're going to use clear plastic tape. And also, before you mount your monitor, you plug it in. Make sure all the video settings are correct, you got the color correct and all that stuff. And make sure it's on the correct input, because once you mount this into your cabinet, you don't have access to your buttons anymore. So please be aware of that before you get everything all set up. All right, so we got the monitor mounted. And so far it doesn't look too bad. Let's see how it looks in the back here. Okay, it doesn't look too crazy. Now we're gonna get everything plugged back in and see if we can get the PC working. All right, so it looks like everything is working so far. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of configuring with Launchbox, but we'll get all that set up eventually. But let's just get a game running. Controls are all backwards. It's not saving my controller profiles either, which is unfortunate. But we'll figure it out. But it's running, working so far so good. that's my PC build, guys. I hope you really enjoyed watching the video this far. Now, the reason I went with the PC is because I want to get as much emulation out of this machine as possible. Sega Model 2 is one of my favorite arcade machines for certain games like Sonic the Fighters, which is one of my personal favorites. Even though I know it's not a very good game, I have a lot of nostalgia for that game. The first House of the Dead, which I think it's overlooked a lot of people go straight for House of the Dead 2 and House of the Dead 3, which is a later version that came on the Wii. But I really want House of the Dead 1. I have nostalgia for that game too. The PC version is terrible, and the Sega Saturn version is even worse, so I just try to skip those as much as possible. And you want to go with the true authentic arcade experience, here you go. Now I still have to buy a 1.3mm adapter for the lit marquee. As you can see, the marquee's not lit because I still have to get the adapter for that. I also wanted to get an external power button so I can power on the machine from outside the cab. However, because I bought this PC from Best Buy, it's an HP build. It does not have the correct pinout for the power. It has its own proprietary pinout, which I'm sure if you do a little bit of research you can figure it out, but I'm not gonna mess with that. I just don't need to screw anything up. I've already done that before. So also RetroArch is giving me tons of headaches, specifically because of the way I set up these controls. And when I bought the encoder kit, it didn't come with wires for the directional input, so I had to solder wires onto the directional input buttons and then map them individually to a free slot on the encoder board, which means they all have different individual button inputs. I think up is back, left is volume or something like that. And I can customize it in any emulator. However, in RetroArch, it just doesn't work. RetroArch won't save my settings even though I save configuration. Map all my individual inputs and it still does its own thing. So I just stay away from RetroArch. I just don't know enough about it. And I just can't get anything to save on there. So Flycast for the Dreamcast, Sega Model 2 emulator, which I also had to do a whole lot of research to get working because this is a Windows, I think 10 or 11 PC, the latest version of Windows. And I'm just looking for more ways to get the most out of this. It also plays racing games. I have a racing wheel, however I can't mount it on this cab, so that's why I'm looking forward to getting the Fast and Furious whenever that drops. I want a dedicated racer cab. And I think I'm pretty much done with this machine once I get all the marquee working and everything. It was a really fun experience putting this thing together. It went over pretty much flawlessly outside of the configuration of the emulation, which whenever you're dealing with PC, you're just gonna have to sit down and figure it out. It's gonna take some time, but once you get everything working, it's so much worth it. I just wanna let you guys know I will be attending the Cleveland Gaming Classic. I got my tickets at my hotels. If you're gonna be out there, I can't wait to see you guys, meet some of you. It's gonna be fun. Looking really forward to doing that in September. And again, thanks for watching the video. I hope you like and subscribe and continue gaming. Peace and love. See you guys later. Thanks.